So I was gonna do this over. You can hear me. Hello. I was gonna do this over my phone, but the camera's not working on that one. That's what it is. I think this is why people get cheap stuff because technology today it's like wah wah. But wanted to share you guys the what I do, and I'm gonna do this now while I'm actually having like my meal, one meal a day. And just to give you a background of why I'm doing this is because back in 2013, 14, I was diagnosed with Meniere's. I already posted about this before, but there are other factors to why I do what I do today. One, why I eat one meal a day is because I wanted to save time. That was my main reason. And number two, I don't know, it was just gradual. I actually did it from 3 meals a day. But before that all happened, I was introduced to this concept of fruit before fruit before meals. And actually, I found it very, very helpful because I was like, okay, if you eat fruit first, it's better because you have less acidity in the body. I'm gonna do this raw once I record. I eat fruit first, actually water first, and then fruit first. It's become this habit of mine. And if I don't eat fruit, if I miss it, I don't eat fruit after. Um, it's actually worked wonders because, like, I go faster. I can go to the bathroom, I poop faster. You know, uh, uh, I usually wait about 30 to an hour before having my main meal. So I have fruit first, and then so water, and then fruit, and then meal. It's kind of backwards if you think about it. But fruit isn't actually dessert. Fruit is just sweet, right? Yes, but that's just the way it is. But it's not because fruit is the easiest to digest. What happens is that your body digests faster. But if you're eating it after a heavy meal like carbs with meat or protein, anything of that sort, those take longer. So what happens is when you eat that first, you ingest it, it goes into the body, stays there, and it's digesting. But when you eat fruit after, because the fruit gets digested quickly, or it's basically breaks down faster. Actually, it does break down faster. What happens is it turns into acid on top of the body. So I was like, I don't want more acidity in the body. That's not good. So now I do it before, and it's really good because it's like I go my a huge difference in the way I was like pooping. I was before I would like I don't know for those people who have like this is like TMI probably, but those people who have like big shits, like we're talking like Lincoln Log huge. I used to have those. Now it's like it may be kind of like that, but at least it's like smooth and it comes out smoothly. And it's actually very cleansing. It's very cool because it's like I feel like when I go, it's like, oh, it's like in one and it's super healthy. So when you get used to it, you want to go with the feeling of it too. So that's what I did. I go with the feeling. Depends, of course, on the fruit that you eat because some fruits apparently cause constipation. So what I do is banana is one of the first things I consume, and that makes me go a lot. And then I have like citrus fruits if I have, but if it's apple, my dad's the same, where he eats apple and he gets constipated from apples. Um, I'm not sure if I do. So what I do is instead of waiting, is if you eat almost right after, like let's say you wait 5 minutes and you feel it's like, oh, it's half an hour, but it's only been 5 minutes. So it's not about really about timing, it's like a feel. So what I do is instead of looking at fruit as a way to cleanse, as a way like before meals, think of fruits as like a meal on its own. and then you're having a meal again later. That's the way I see it. Or at least that I'm still getting up to this day. I'm still kind of like, because sometimes I don't have time. I work in the late afternoons, and I'm just like, what if I like miss something? I'm so busy, and I'm like, all of a sudden, oh crap, it's already 1 o'clock. I work around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and my time doesn't matter. I work around 3 in the afternoon, so if I don't have like my first meal like before 2, what happens is it kind of pushes everything back, right? And it's just like, so that means I feel like I'm rushing the meal. So instead of it being like half an hour at the minimum, I would say minimum half an hour, 30 minutes before the meal, then it feels like it's rushed, and then the digestion gets affected, and then it becomes like, especially if you're eating something like lots of carbs, especially with flour, if it's flour based, even whole wheat. I use whole wheat all the time. If I don't get to, sometimes I'll use white, but I try to avoid that. Um, yeah, so that's that. So I make sure that I make sure the food that I eat is actually cooked, especially if it's flour. I make, sometimes I'll make like dough and I'll cut into like scissors. I'll show you what I do. I'm not sure if I can do it today. I was gonna use my camera phone and then my phone camera, but to show you what it looks like, but I can't. I'm on my laptop right now. So try toothbrush. The other thing is that the whole Meniere's thing. I believe I got Meniere's or diagnosed with Meniere's because I was living very unhealthily back then, where I would eat anything. I would have 2 boxes of pizza all to myself. Large. So not only was it a lot, but it was also like high sodium, um, high fat, high cholesterol. So not healthy. So what happened was my body got used to all the stuff that I was eating, and it woke me up. Literally, I got this awakening, at least health-wise, and saying, I need to watch out for that because I don't want to go through the unpredictable dizziness. So I had to control my sodium. It's a long story, but basically the process is I started to watch how much sodium I had, and because of that, it kind of in a way lessened how much food I was eating. Not necessarily like smaller portions, but more like just moderate. So it's kind of I'm not stuffing myself, and I lost a lot of weight because of that too. Plus, I was already in swimming. I was like, I finally got back to. I guess you can say got back to. It's a whole past life thing. But I got into swimming and I wanted to really work on it because as a kid I was always drawn to the water. I just never knew how. I just wanted to do something with it instead of just like in the water. So it started when after I lost I had a falling out with 2 best friends, and I wasn't being myself. I wasn't being whole. I wasn't being, you know, um, there's a part of me that resented a lot of the stuff that they did that I couldn't be part of, and it was just kind of like I felt out of place. Huge shadow, right? And eventually it came to time. It came. There were times where I just like exploded unexpectedly. It was very intimidating to them. Um, I wasn't real. I was lying to them about what I felt. I wasn't being honest. So we had a falling out. We broke off the friendship. It was a very huge awakening for me as well. Because this was literally before the Meniere's thing. Not to mention gout later. But anyway, so it was an awakening for me, and I got back. Like we were in Italy. There was a wedding. They had their wedding, and it's surprising that was a wedding. It was like fun, and that was the exact same time when it actually ended it as well. It was just like it ended. It was just like huge, fucking like 180, you know. And after I got back from Italy, this was back in 2000, yeah, 2013. I was still trying to finish my last year of schooling in education. I was becoming a teacher. I was doing my education degree. I was working on it. And I had this sense of peace that it was like, it's a new chapter in my life now. It's sad, but at the same time, there was something else. There was underneath the sadness, there was just like, I can breathe now. I don't have to accommodate. I felt part of me was accommodating them way too much, and I initiated that. I initiated that too because I wanted to belong. That's a Libra thing, right? You want to belong. You want to fit in. You never want to be ostracized. You never want to be left out. It hurts. So I did everything to accommodate them, not finding my own voice, not finding my own, choice. My choices were it kind of revolved around them rather than finding my own path. And then a colleague of mine introduced me to, reintroduced me to going back to the pool. We were just having fun. And just like, I know how to swim a little bit, but I didn't know like what was there. I was like a late bloomer with swimming. Then I realized, wow, I really like this. So we went once, and then we went again the next week. It was like once a week. I don't remember what happened after that exactly, but I remember like asking my friend colleague, Susan, I said, do you want to go swimming? And she said, no, it's okay. I'm not in the mood today. I said, okay, I'll go myself because I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to go. I initiated. So I went to the pool. I did my own thing. Didn't know what to do. I was just there having fun. And next thing I know, I had this pull to like give it a try even more, you know. And so I worked on it, and I literally did. I was enjoying it. I literally looked up things that were like, how can I get better? What can I do? What is all this swimming about? So I went into technique stuff. I did training. I asked around. I met people in the pool, people outside the pool. I talked to lifeguards. I consulted. I went to websites. I went to websites. I went to this channel called Go Swim TV. Got a lot of stuff, and then another bunch of websites. So I kept improving, until finally in 2016, I joined the team. But before then, when I was back in 2014, I started getting these dizziness. I think it was 2014. I was diagnosed with Meniere's. I think it was a weird transition. I don't even remember exactly how I went into low sodium diet, but I basically had to lower the sodium eventually. And then at first it was like, this is awful. I was judging the whole thing. I said it was awful. It was so bland. And next thing I know, it's like, when I say next thing I know, I mean like about a year or so after. I just got used to it. My doctor said, and my specialist said, cut out caffeine if you can. And when I say if you can, I think what they mean is like really like. So I took it seriously and said, okay, I'm gonna just completely like go cold turkey. No caffeine, any source of caffeine. So pop has caffeine, coffee has caffeine, chocolate has caffeine. Not white, just regular chocolate, like brown, like dark chocolate or brown chocolate or milk chocolate. Cut that out. Tea, cut that out too. Unless it's like fruit tea, that's fine with me. Very sensitive to heat, so I realized that too. I was just like, okay, I had to be less connected to heat, meaning like stress as well. But stress was more of like several years ago, whereas back in before the pandemic, just before the pandemic, I started to be less stressed about things. Start to realize, oh, I need to. So I had all these awakenings. I had all these changes that I had to go through on a physical level, at least. And I realized back in the 2020, maybe 2019, I was still in the swim team. I had already like actually enjoyed it. I was actually taking medication. It's called Coversil. And apparently it also gave me gout. I think it's exacerbated the gout. I'm not sure. So I was also starting to get gout, and I was just like, ugh. So I had to. I actually reduced. I looked up what causes gout, and I was like, oh, inner parts of the body, like intestines of the animals, or cabbage, spinach. What else was there? Bunch of things that have high purine levels in them, because this body cannot metabolize or transform purine. It becomes uric acid, and that's what causes the gout. It's a buildup in the joints, specifically like the foot area, like the balls of the feet, like right here. You know, when you have the ball. Um, and yeah, I just had to change everything. So basically, what was I trying to say here? Yeah, so I changed everything. I eat less meat, less proteins. I just went with eggs and sometimes a can of tuna once a week. And then I realized I needed time. I needed more time to do my stuff. So I was still doing some swimming. This was back in 2018, 19, around that year. And then I just said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat less often rather. So I went from 3 meals a day, which is the fruit first and then fruit before meals. But what happened with the first meal of the day, the breakfast, was it was just fruit and then that's it. That was my breakfast. And then fruit again later with water fruit again later for lunch and then fruit again, water fruit again later at dinner. So to me, it felt like mathematically, sort of, it was like 6 things. There was fruit, meal, fruit, meal, fruit, meal. So like 6 things. It cut down to like, or more like three things. So 3 meals a day, of course, right? So instead of it being just 3 meals, he went like 2.5 to 2, 1.5, and then to 1. And this one is like over like a span of like less than a year. I started getting used to eating once a day, and then with the fruit first diet. Um, but yeah, so this body has been consuming less, or rather, it feels healthier for the most part. And then again, last year when we were doing taxes, it stressed me out and came back. And this was when I was already feeling so good. Plus I was doing the cold showers as usual. I started that back in 2020. April 7 is my anniversary for that one. I started the Wim Hof method. But I was doing all that stuff. But back last year, when we were doing taxes for last year, 2023, for the 20, you know how taxes work, right? So, but anyways, I was doing it last year and I got so stressed about it. But this is when I was doing yoga. I was like actually feeling good. I was like strengthened. And then I got this rush again. It came back to me, this dizziness. And it's like, why is this coming back? I actually got off the meds back in 2019. I stopped taking it completely. It made a huge difference too. And then I was just okay. I was just calm. So I went back into yoga. Or rather, I did a more serious yoga. I discovered this whole Ashtanga yoga thing. If you go to commune.com, they have classes there about Ashtanga. Go ahead and try that out. But then when I was stressed, it was like, it came back. So I was like, so I needed to do something about it. And just like, I saw this video on YouTube. For some reason, I was, I'm usually compelled to, like I said, look up something. I hear these sayings. I just like, okay, look it up. So I just looked it up and I saw this video on how to, what do you call this? How to work with dizziness or Meniere's, if you have Meniere's, with the Virgo naturally. How to work with it naturally. So the doctor said that niacin. So I got this niacin bottle. It says no flush. There's ones that are regulars, and this one's there's no flush. So you can see that, right? So that's the one. For some people, they don't like the flush. I've never had that, so I'm just like, I don't feel like I should do that. So I get the one that's no flush. That has helped, and I try to avoid stress. I try to avoid yelling, getting into arguments, or I process everything and really like go with it and then sit down with it. So besides all this stuff, the growth and awakening, all that stuff, there was a physical awakening, you know, or gastro gastronomic awakening, if that would make sense. Food, right? Food. Plus the whole like, even when I turn, I sometimes just like I focus. So, so why don't you share that video as I make my meal for the day? I'm just making my like, it's not really burrito, but it's like I make like black beans. Um, I'll see if I can take a picture and add it somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'll post it on my Instagram account. Um, but my Instagram account is linked to my page here on YouTube. Um, I'll post it somehow with, and then there's soup with it. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go eat my apple now. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. I hope that helps. Bye.